Woo, hello audience. My name is Jen-Davena, vagalotti. And woo, I'm a comedian and a feminist. Go feminist. So I had a very, very traumatic week. Oh my god, it was so traumatic. You can't believe how traumatic my week was. Men are just so selfish. And they're just so selfish and don't understand women. Am I right, women? You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I was texting my friend Susan on the phone because I just bought some coffee and the guy behind the counter stuffed up my order. So I was texting Susan saying how all men are shit because this guy didn't know what he was doing. I asked for 2 pumps of vanilla and he only gave me 1. And because I was texting Susan, I might have gone through a red light and hit a homeless person in a wheelchair. I mean, it was tragic. It was really, really tragic. I mean, he had like brain all over my bumper. I mean, do you know how hard that is to clean? His wheelchair dented up the front of my car. So entitled. I looked down at him on the ground and I said, "You're just so entitled." And he said to me, he actually had the nerve. Get this, girls. He actually had the nerve to look up at me and say, "I'm dying." I said, "You're dying? I'm going to be late to my hair appointment." My God, Mr. Entitlement. And he said to me, "Please help me." I said, "Oh my God, are you mansplaining to me, Mr. Privilege?" He said, "I think I'm dying." I said, "Oh, do you think that I don't know what a dying homeless man in a wheelchair looks like? This isn't the first time I've been texting and gone for a red light, Mr. Entitlement. You don't need to explain to me what a dying homeless man in a wheelchair looks like. You're not even the first homeless man in a wheelchair I've hit this week. Yet you think just because I'm a woman, I don't know what a dying man in a wheelchair looks like. Mr. Entitlement. Just because you're homeless and in a wheelchair doesn't make you special. Bleeding all over the road. My God. So entitled just to bleed like that. Women can't bleed like that. When we have our periods, the patriarchy forces us to use tampons. How oppressive is that? We can't just bleed everywhere like men can when they get hit by a 4-wheel drive. It's just so entitled. He said, "Please get me an ambulance." I said, "Don't be so demanding, okay? I've had a very rough day, and I don't need a man to tell me what to do. Get your own ambulance, Mr. Entitled. I'm not your slave, or I'm not getting you an ambulance and making you a sandwich. Okay? Women have periods, okay? I don't know how many times I have to tell you this, but if any men out there think that their life is tough and they're oppressed and just because they're in a wheelchair and they're homeless and they get run over by a feminist in a 4-wheel drive, that really doesn't compare to having a period once a month. You just don't know what that's like. The patriarchy forcing you to bleed that way. It's just so oppressive. Mr. Entitlement. Mr. Free Bleeder all over the footpath and the road. And as I was explaining this to him, he had the nerve to die. How rude and entitled is that? To just die when I'm in the middle of explaining to him about periods. He just dies on me. So entitled. I mean, what am I supposed to do now? Like, it's really hard to drive around his body, and I'm going to be late for my hair appointment. like I said, I was having a really, really rough week. But that's what it's like being a woman. Men wouldn't really understand at all. That's why we need feminism. That's why we need feminism, because men are entitled and women are still oppressed. I mean, what about the wage gap? We've still got the wage gap where women earn 78 cents to every dollar a man earns for doing exactly the same work. Exactly the same work, and they just get paid less because they're women. And women have periods too. Did I mention that? I mean, once a month we have periods. And we get paid less for doing the same work. That's why we need feminism. It's not easy. It's not easy being a woman. It's not. I meant to do like a minute or 2 minutes or something, but I've run out of jokes. So I'm just going to talk about women having periods and feminism, because feminism is just like so important. Everyone should be a feminist because it's the best way to hate men without being a bigot. You know, you can just say men are responsible for everything that's bad and we hate them, right? And then we can talk about how we have our periods once a month, because that's really oppressive and the patriarchy is bad, and we should just all smash the patriarchy, because the patriarchy is terrible. Anyway, I've been like the best feminist comedian like ever, you know, and don't forget, women have periods, so it's really, really oppressive, and that's why it's important that we get feminism into schools and teach children that they all need to be feminists, because women have their periods, and that's the patriarchy. Good night. So what is it with men, and they just always talk about their penises? You never hear women talking about their vaginas or having their periods. I mean, I'm a woman, and I have my period once a month. That's my vagina, you know, and, I mean, you never hear women talking about their periods. Never. I mean, I never go on stage and just talk about my period for like half an hour, and that's my routine. I've never done that, but men, you always hear them, always, they're just obsessed with their penises. They're just totally obsessed with them. They should just try having a period and then see what it's like. Maybe they should try like bleeding out of their penis for a week and then see what it's like. You know, maybe they'd be a bit more sympathetic towards women. Because, you know, all they do is talk about their penises, and they just don't know what it's like to be a woman in the modern world who has a period, because it's so oppressive. They just don't understand, and that's why we need feminism.
I mean, like for like, y'all make 20% more. I'm really having a hard time seeing what y'all arguing for. Divorce is unfair. Child custody is unfair. There's 12 criminal cases only for women. Honestly, I really don't care. Until you have a period, bear children, or get a pay cut, y'all just emotional, crybaby madmen that need to shut the fuck up. Until you have a period,